a wealthy one. He's continually ashamed of his ill appearance and has to come and go always with an apologetic air. Apologetic air. I have to apologize for this manner of my podcast and what I'm wearing all the time. And when he sees the envious glances of his wife and the servants, and he hears the slighting way in which his neighbor refers to him, he is always liable to feel irritable and ill at ease. Yeah, my friend, the Tibetan volleyball player was slighted by some other guy in the park, and he said, "Why did this guy said, oh, you should get out of my way," or something. He was slighted. Here's the slighting way in which his neighbor refers to him. Yeah. I guess if a poor man lives near a wealthy one, that's the problem. If I were to live in Boca Raton, I would be ashamed of my appearance.
Ashamed of my
so you're not going to go there? No. I would be like a sparrow near a hawk's nest. Oh, is that where you're going to Colombia? I don't know what you're doing, but you can't live near rich people? No, they would slight me and say I'm not dressed properly or something. Men of influence are usually greedy of place and power, while those of none are apt to be despised. I guess he's explaining why he went to the 10 square foot hood. Is that why you're in your room or cuarto in Queens, New York, to try to hide from the greedy people in Manhattan? Yeah, men of influence are usually greedy of place and power, while those of none are apt to be despised. Yeah, a lot of people despise me in my podcast. If you have a lot of property, you have many cares. While if you are poor, there is always plenty to worry you. Wait a minute here. Now he's saying if you have property, you're worried, and if you're poor, you're also worried. Huh. Oh, what are you? Oh, I'm lower middle class. I don't have any worries at all, because I'm neither rich or poor. Oh, really? That sounds perfect. Okay. If you have servants, you are in their power, and if you compassionate others, then that feeling masters you. If you have, okay. If I had servants, you are in their power, and if you are compassionate to others, then their feelings master you. They would master me, yeah. If you follow the fashions around you, you will have little comfort. Yeah, if I was to follow Madison Avenue and Hollywood and all that stuff, you would have little comfort. And if you do not, you will be called crazy. Yeah. And if I don't follow along with the fashions and stuff like that, they call me crazy. Yeah, your podcast is crazy. Yeah, so whenever you go and whatever you do, it is hard to find rest for mind and body. This poor guy, he's trying to get away from all these snobby people, and he's got to deal with earthquakes and typhoons and God knows what else. The war in Ukraine. I inherited the estate of my great-grandmother on the father's side, and there I lived for a while. And I inherited the estate of my mother and father and I. But then I left home and came down in the world, and as there were very many reasons why I wished to live unnoticed. Yeah, so why are you podcasting the fact that you wish to live unnoticed? Yeah, I wished to live unnoticed. Is this the Walden Pond version of Japan or something? What? You went into the woods just to live deliberately? Yeah, I wish to live unnoticed. I could not remain where I was, so I built a cottage just suited to my wants. It was only 1/10 of the size of my former home and contained only a living room for myself. Yeah, my space now, my one room in the apartment is, I don't think it's even 1/10 the size. It is 1/10 the size of my former home in Connecticut. Actually, it's probably 1/20. I don't know. Wait a minute. That's a good question. Well, okay. It's 1/20th, let's say. If mine is 20 by 10, that's 200. And the Connecticut was 4,000. That would be 1/20th or something. It contained only a living room for myself, and I could not build a proper home. I had rough plastered walls and no gate, and the pillars were of bamboo, so it was really nothing more than a cart shed. So you're living in a shed, basically. No, it's an apartment, but it's not really a cart shed. It's one of the bedrooms within a 3-bedroom apartment, and it has a kitchen and a bathroom. Oh, okay. You even have a living room, yeah. And as it was not far from the riverbed, there was some peril from floods as well as anxiety about thieves. Oh my God. And then you have anxiety about thieves after. God, this life is not so good. Did you have anxiety about thieves? Well, yeah. Then why don't you lock the door? Yeah, good question. Huh. So I went on living in this unsympathetic world amid many difficulties for 30 years, and the various rebuffs that I met left me with a poor opinion of this fleeting life. Yeah. Huh. Were you rebuffed? Yeah, I was rebuffed. It left me with a poor opinion of this fleeting life. Oh, is that why you became a mystic? Or is that why you meditate so much? Or when did this all happen? So I went on living in this unsympathetic world among the many difficulties for 30 years. And the various rebuffs that I met left me with a poor opinion of this fleeting life. Yeah, this went on for me for about 30 years and left me with a poor opinion of the divorce court and a poor opinion of the legal system and of business and all these things of the worldly life. So when I arrived at the age of 50, I abandoned the world and retired. Oh, so this is about your retirement or something? What happened to you? Yeah, when I arrived at the age of 50, I abandoned the world and retired. And since I had no wife or child, it was by no means difficult to leave it. Neither had I any rank or revenue to be a tie to hold me. Yeah, I at that point had no wife or child. The child, yeah, I had no child.
Yeah, you have?
No, I don't have.
The child was subject to parental alienation syndrome, so there was no child hardly. So it is that I have come to spend, I know not how many useless years hidden in the mist of Mount O'Hara. Yeah, I spent a lot of useless years just traveling in the mist of O'Hara. The Mount O'Hara in British Columbia. Yeah, I know not how many useless years hidden in the mist of Mount O'Hara. And so it is that I have come to spend, I know not how many useless years hidden in the mist of the Mount O'Hare Mountain in British Columbia. Yeah, I spent a lot of useless years traveling around the world, and I had went to O'Hara. It's a mountain, actually it has limited access, so though that day I went, it was raining, so we got in without an appointment. Oh, wow. But some of my years were not useless, but most of my years when I didn't do meditation were useless. I am now 60 years old. I am now 60 years old. And this hut, and this apartment, in which I shall spend the last remaining years of my dew-like existence, is like the shelter that some hunter might build for a night's lodging in the hills, or like the cocoon some old silkworm might spin. So this room is sort of like just a cocoon in a way.
My watch.
Yeah, at one point I was thinking that the physical body itself is a cocoon. And when the silkworm, and when the soul comes out of the body, it flies away like a butterfly. So you're actually like a butterfly, and but you were acting like just a worm.
A worm?
Yeah. I'm a butterfly, but I act like I'm a worm. It's just in the physical body. But the master just tells me that I have a soul, which is like a butterfly. If I went into meditation, like in a cocoon, I could get out. Oh, okay. So you are similar age and everything else, and you have a similar apartment. My apartment is similar to his hut. And yeah, they have these huts in the woods for hunters and stuff. I've seen those. Yeah, but you're not supposed to be hunting. I'm hunting for the truth in this podcast, okay? If I compare it to the cottage of my middle years, it is not 1/100th of the size. Yeah, it's not even 1/100th the size. This apartment is not. This room is not even 1/20th of the size of my former house in Connecticut. Thus, as old age draws on, my hut has grown smaller and smaller. It is a cottage of quite a peculiar kind, for it is only 10 feet square and less than 7 feet high. And as I did not decide to fix it in any definite place, I did not choose the site by divination as usual. Yeah, I wonder, how do I choose a site by divination? Yeah, I don't know how to do that, and this is 7 feet. This ceiling is, I want to say, 10 feet, maybe? His was only 7 feet. I should get the dimensions of my cuarto for this podcast and get it. I don't know. I think the apartment was chosen by divination. Yeah, I think when I went on looking for this apartment, this one was listed like an hour or something. It became the moment it was listed, the day or the hour that it went listed. Was the divine moment when I went searching for a 3-bedroom apartment. So the site is found by divination, as usual. It's not random events at all. Okay. So you're saying the things happening to you are divine, yeah. The walls are of rough plastered earth, and the roof is of thatch. All the joints are hinged with metal so that if the situation no longer pleases me, I can easily take it down and transport it elsewhere. I don't actually if I was to get like a Tesla house or a airstream, so strong. Jeez, it's so windy. The heck? What's happening? Stop. Damn it. Something. I bet some of them could be moved easily. Even if they were fixed prefab houses, I bet a lot of them could be moved easily. Or the ones with wheels, I guess. And this can be done with very little labor, for the room will only fill 2 carloads, and beyond the small wage of the carters, nothing else is needed. Yeah, so I could get all my stuff to fit into 2 carloads. Yeah, I know. I had at one point all my stuff to fit in a Prius in a way. Oh yeah, you did at one point. Plus your small. Yeah, I have like a small storage space. What is it? It's like 5 by 5. It's like and 5 high or something. It's really small. And the rest fitted in a Prius, but my stuff has been expanding a bit. Now hidden deep in the vastnesses of Mount Hino, I have put up eaves projecting on the south side to keep off the sun and a small bamboo veranda beneath them. Yeah, I keep off by having an east-facing apartment. It's actually cool in the summer because it's on the lower floor and it's on the east, and the afternoons get hot in the summer, and so this room is cool in the summer. Oh, okay. So it's rather cold. It's keep off the sun, and a small bamboo veranda beneath them. On the west is the shelf for the offerings of water and flowers to Buddha. Yeah, and when are you going to bring back Buddha? You have him in storage space. You claim to be a universalist. So where's Buddha? And in the middle, against the western wall, is a picture of Amida Buddha, so arranged that the setting sun shines from between his brows. The setting sun shines from between his brows as though he were emitting his ray of light, while on the doors of his shrine are painted pictures of Fugan and Fudo. Over the sliding doors on the north side is a little shelf on which stand 3 or 4 back-covered cases containing some volumes of Japanese poems and music and a book of selections from the Buddhist Sutras. Yeah, actually I have on the shelf by the window facing to the east, I have a bunch of books on poetry and music, and I have music, and I have spiritual books. Oh, really? Like I might have the poetry of Mayor Takumi. I have Zoroaster's hymns of Zoroastrianism, and I have the Bible. Yeah, it goes on.
Yeah, the largest component of what my property is music scores. That's by far the largest.
Oh, yeah!
They're the most difficult to replace or get, and the most expensive anyway. So I have like the tubs in storage. There's like let's say there was like 8 tubs.
Bingo!
So 5 of them. Probably music scores.
Mama!
And then one would be photographs and notebooks. So the bulk of the stuff is music scores. Oh wow, that's nice. But you never got an iPad to play PDFs on the piano. I thought you had put a lot of those on PDFs. Why don't you get an iPad? And a book of selections from the Buddhist Sutra, and I could put all those PDFs of the Buddhist Sutra on the iPad. Okay. Beside these stand a harp and a lute of the kind called folding harp and jointed lute. And beside these books stands a electric piano. And not too many musical instruments besides a tin whistle. Yeah, beside them stands a piano. On the eastern side is a bundle of ferns and a mat of straw in which I sleep at night. Yeah, and next to them is not a mat of straw, but an actual bed. But there is next to it a zabuton, which I meditate. Are you describing your hut at the same time you're describing the 10-foot square hut? In the eastern wall there is a window. Yeah, now we're talking about the eastern wall. There is a window before which stands my writing table. Yeah, so ideally, I would have a writing table. There is a nightstand next to the bed. I don't even have a writing table. I use the dining room table. A firebox beside my pillow in which I can make a fire of broken brushwood completes the furniture. To the north of my little hut I have made a teeny garden surrounded by a thin wool brushwood fence so that I can grow various kinds of medicinal herbs. Nice. Such is the style of my unsubstantial cottage. As to my surroundings, on the south, there is a little basin that I have made of pellet rocks to receive the water that runs down from a bamboo spout above it. And as the forest trees reach close up to the eaves, it is easy enough to get fuel. The place is called Toriyama. It is almost hidden in the tangled growth of evergreens. Yeah. Oh, it's in evergreens. But through the valley is much overgrown. Although the valley is much overgrown, it is open towards the west so that I can contemplate the scenery and meditate on the enlightenment that comes from the paradise in that quarter. Yeah, but though the valley is much overgrown, though much of Queens is overgrown, it is open toward the west so that I can contemplate the scenery and meditate on the enlightenment that comes from paradise in that quarter. Yeah, I can meditate on enlightenment because the actual house is owned by Tibet. So it's got a natural blessedness from Buddha. So it's already got suitable for meditation. And there's a lot of Tibetans. There was one the other day who played volleyball with us. We had actually 2 Tibetans. and played volleyball. So.
Wow,
He was
yeah,
able to
ba,
contemplate on the enlightenment that comes from little Tibet queens. So. In the spring I behold the clusters of wisdom, shining like the purple clouds in which a meter Buddha comes to others around. In the summer I hear the cuckoo, and his note reminds me that he will soon guide me over the hills of death. Yeah, I guess the birds remind me that someday Buddha will come and guide me over the hills of death, of which they call him the warden. Yeah, the bird, the cuckoo, is the warden. So, does that relate to your Hototo Gisu? Like they talk about the cuckoo all the time? Is that why these psychopaths are so depressed from listening to cuckoo day all the time? I guess after they reached enlightenment, they were positive about it. But I guess, yeah, I guess you don't have to worry about it. If you've reached enlightenment and you continue meditating every day, I wouldn't see why you'd have to worry about
I found
hills of death.
this goes.
In autumn I hear everywhere the shrilling of the evening cicada. And inquire of him if he is bewailing the vanity of this fleeting life, empty as his own dried up husk. Oh, in winter, the snow as it piles up and melts seems like an allegory to our evil karma.
You have karma?
Yeah, do you have evil karma when you think about the situation? You think about what's going on in Ukraine, and you think bad thoughts about Russia. Or you think about the Supreme Court leak with the abortion issue with the leak coming out of the Supreme Court. Yeah, well, do you think good or bad thoughts? And I thought that Zoroaster taught that you should think good thoughts of the mindful word and be mindful of the word and think good thoughts. Yeah, he was into mindfulness. It's strange. It sounds like you're reading mindfulness studies. He sounds like he's an early version of mindfulness meditation. He teaches good thoughts. Yeah, you like Zoroaster. Huh. Yeah, he turns out he's very cool, actually. And he likes dairy products, and he's against people killing the cows because it's very nice to have dairy products. Okay. If I get tired of repeating the invocation to Buddha or feel disinclined to read the sutras and go to sleep or sit idly, there is none to rebuke me. No companion to make me feel ashamed. Yeah, no one's usually rebuking me. They usually complain when I read too much the sutras or meditate too long. So I'm only rebuked for doing too much reading of scriptures or meditating too much. I may not have made any special vow of silence, but as I am all alone, I am little likely to offend with the tongue, and even without intending to keep the Buddhist commandments, separated from society, it is not easy to break them. Yeah, when you're amongst a lot of people, and if you're alone, you can't irritate somebody by speech because you're all alone. So even though I may not have made any special vow of silence, but as I am all alone, I am little likely to offend with the tongue. Yeah, he's not offending anybody. So his karma isn't very high because he's just sort of hanging out alone in his hut in the woods alone. Yeah.
Is he afraid of karma? Like, well, if you just don't be bad and don't think bad thoughts and try to be positive. Yeah, I have a little bracelet that says positive vibes, so I'm living not all alone, but I am taking a vow of, I've had a vow of not being negative. Yeah, you're negative about people who are negative, though. You're negative about negativity. Yeah, I am negative towards negative people. That is negativity. Okay. In the morning as I look out at the boats on the Huji River by Okanoya, I may steal a phrase from the monk Mansui and compare this fleeting life to the white foam in their wake. An association may lead me to try a few verses myself in his style. Or in the evening, as I listen to the rustling of the maples in the wind, the opening lines of The Lute Maiden by great Chinese poet Po Chui naturally occur to my mind, and my hand strays to the instrument, and I play perhaps a piece or two in the style of Minamoto Suninobu. And if I am in the mood for music, I may play the piece called Autumn Wind, to the accompaniment of the creaking of the giant trees outside, or that entitled Flowing Waters, in harmony with the purling of the stream. I have little skill in verse or music. Yeah, I don't have that much skill in poetry or playing the piano. I have little skill in verse or music or podcasting or reading or doing anything or meditating. I have little skill, and I'm no good at tennis either. Yeah, I thought Kai said you were actually good at volleyball. Yeah, he complimented me, actually. He said you're really good at volleyball. Yeah, so you have a little skill. I have little skill in verse or music, but then I only play and compose for my own amusement. Yeah, I'm only doing this podcast for my own amusement. And I only write my poetry for my own amusement. And I only play the piano for my own amusement. And I only play tennis for my own amusement. And not for the ears of other people. Yeah. So, you really want to do that? Just sit in your 10-foot square hut and play the piano and write verse and podcast all by yourself? Why? I thought that humans were social animals. And you like having a wife and stuff, and you're trying to adopt it to your lifestyle. And you said that you were all alone in your podcast and in your quarto after your wife goes to work, and you achieve that sense of meditation. Yeah, or you are living it now vicariously within books with Japanese classics. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. At the foot of the hill, there is a little cottage of brushwood, where lives the keeper of these hills, and he has a boy who sometimes comes to bear me company, and when time is heavy on my hands, we go for a walk. He is 16 and I am 60. And though the difference in age is so great, we find plenty of amusement in each other's society. Yeah, I spend time with the little girl, the little 3-year-old girl I read her a book, and we played the piano, and she is 3 and I am 60. He is 16. And I am 60, though the difference in age is so great, we find plenty of amusement in each other's company. Yeah. Sometimes we gather the long grass or the rock pear, or help ourselves to wild potatoes or parsley, or we may go as far as the rice fields at the foot of our hills and glean a few ears to make an offering to the deities. If the day is fine, we may climb up on some peak and look out over the capital in the distance and enjoy the views of Mount Kobata, Fusishmi, Toba, or Hatsukashi. Fine scenery has no landlord, so there is nothing to hinder our pleasure. Yeah, there's nothing to hinder our pleasure. Nothing. This is part 2 of my reading from the 10 square foot hut. I'm reading from my hut, so I'm reading about the hut. When I feel in the mood for a longer walk, we may go over the hills by Sumiyama, past Kasatori, and visit the temple of Kana of the Thousand Arms at Iwama. Or it may take our fancy to go and worship at the famous temple of Ishiyama by Lake Biwa. Or again, if you go by Awazu, we may stop to say a prayer for the soul of Semimaru at his shrine on Asaka Hill, and from whence may cross the river Tagami and visit the grave of Sahuru Maru Taru. I haven't visited too many graves lately. There's some big graveyards around here with famous people in them. I used to go see Scott Joplin, and I haven't seen. They say Rachmaninoff is up in Westchester County. Then on our way back, according to the season, there will be the cherry blossoms to pluck and the maple or bracken of some sort of berries to gather. I wish I could gather some berries. And of these, some we can offer to the Buddha, and some we can eat ourselves. Yeah, you could eat some yourself. So I just wanted to finish up this podcast in the quiet evenings. I look out my window. Yeah, this is kind of the quiet evening right now. And I look out my window, and I was playing a Beethoven sonata. Yeah. In the quiet evenings, I look out my window at the moon and think over the friends of other days. Yeah, I was thinking about my friends. And the mournful cry of the monkey often makes me moisten my sleeve with tears. I might imagine the cloud of fireflies to be the fishing fires at Makinoshima, or the rain at dawn to be the patter of the leaves driven by the wind. When I hear the hollow cry of the pheasant, that might be mistaken for a father or mother howling to their children, as Yogi Bosatsu verse has it, or see the mountain deer approach me without any fear. Yeah, if the mountain deer approaches me without fear, then I understand how remote I am from the world. Yeah, if I could achieve that. If the mountain deer approaches me without any fear, then that means that I've reached enlightenment. And I stir up the embers of my smoldering fire, the best friend an old man can find by him when he awakes. Yeah, my best friend is, when I awake, is just some embers in a smoldering fire. And that's basically all this podcast is a bunch of smoldering embers. The mountains themselves are not at all awesome, though indeed the hooting of the owls is sometimes melancholy enough. But of the beauties of the ever-changing scenery of the mountains, one never becomes weary. And you sound weary, though, or you're not weary. And to one who thinks deeply and has a good store of knowledge, such pleasure is indeed inexhaustible. Yeah, so the pleasure of listening to this podcast is inexhaustible.
Okay, yeah, Wednesday, yes. Saturday, yeah, go.
You come Wednesday?
Maybe tomorrow if you go well, I play rugby.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
tennis.
you know, come tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesday. I come Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
Alright.
if you
Alright.
if you play, okay. If you play tennis, I come. If you come, I don't know myself. Maybe yeah, maybe if you put weather, yeah, don't forget it.
I play. Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday if I have no tennis. Depends. Sometimes I could do tennis, volleyball, then go over there. Alrighty?
Okay, thank you. Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Maybe, yeah, okay. Okay,
Alright.
good. Little bit, it's okay. Practice, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, very
It's windy though. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
I'll see you at sauna. I'm in a, they have co-ed, like man and women. Co-ed.
Yeah, woman, yeah.
Because I go with Olga.
No, son different.
So I don't know no women.
No.
Oh, they have women's
Separate.
sauna.
No, pool, it's woman and man.
But
yeah.
they have women's sauna and men's sauna.
No, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I'll see you.
Yeah, it's good.
I could come with Olga.
Good today, yeah, very nice.
I could come
Today,
tomorrow or
finish 8:30.
Okay.
It's very good.
8:30. I'll see you.
Yeah, okay.
Bye.
Good, okay.
Nice sunshine. You more play tennis. I was gonna hit the wall. What if we hit the wall? You could hit the tennis ball to the wall. All right. See you later. Yeah. Yeah.
When I first came to Queens, I thought it would be more difficult. For 5 years have already passed. When I first came to live in this place, I thought it would be but for a little space. But 5 years have already passed. Yeah, a lot of years I've actually lived in Queens. Let's see. Yeah, how many years is it now? It's like going on 7 or something. This temporary hut of mine looks old and weather-beaten, and on the roof the rotting leaves lie deep, while the moss has grown thick on the plastered wall. Yeah, I always think of my huts as temporary. Yeah, well, you were kind of digging in with, you're not temporary, or of course it is temporary, yeah. I'm actually reading the 10-foot square hut, a 13th century Japanese classic, which, but since I am a classic, I'm relating myself to this classic. Okay. By occasional tidings that reach me from the capital, I learn that the number of distinguished people who have passed away is not small. Yeah, I learn about my high school class and from the emails or the Facebook or something about class reunions. And you missed the last one. Why did you miss it? Well, I just for some reason couldn't make it, and it was last year that my mother passed away or something happened. Occasional tidings from my alumni from my high school that reached me from Willard. I learned that the number of distinguished classmates who have passed away is not small. And as to those of no consequence, it might be very great indeed. By occasional tidings that reach me from the capital, I learned that the number of distinguished people who have passed away is not small. And as to those of no consequence, it must be very great indeed. Yeah, and a lot in my brother's class, and he's only 5 years older than me. A lot of them have passed away. Wow. And your guru says that you should be making progress before you get too old. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about here. This is everything I do is philosophical. Yeah, I thought it was poetry. So you podcast about the philosophy of life and how to live and life hacks and you hack away at your podcast and all that stuff. Yeah. And in the various fires, I wonder how many houses have been burned But in this little impermanent hut of mine, all is calm and there is nothing to fear. Yeah, and in my impermanent rental apartment, all is calm and there is nothing to fear. Yeah, I don't really fear hardly anything. You're not afraid of death or anything at all? You're not even afraid of Putin and his missiles? No, I'm not afraid of anything. There is nothing to fear. It may be small, but there is room to sleep at night. Oh. Yeah, there's definitely room to sleep at night. And to sit down in the daytime so that for one person there is no inconvenience. Yeah, I was just thinking about inconvenience, like the main thing you want to do. You know, it's what the poorest people need is not necessarily money exactly, but money when it's convenient. They need convenience in a way. So they could have Bitcoin activated convenience. Like they're going for a job interview but don't have money for the bus, and they could be conveniently given the money for the bus when they're going for their job interview. Convenience is more important than money. Oh. Yeah, it may be small, but there is room to sleep at night and to sit down in the daytime. Yeah, I can sit down on my zabuton and do meditation in the daytime, which I've been doing because it's quiet in the daytime when everybody's house is empty. Yeah, that's paradoxical. Is that because you're a senior or something? You meditate in the daytime? That is so weird. I thought you meditated in the deep night too, yeah. There is no inconvenience. The herb crab chooses a small shell. And that is because he knows well the needs of his own body. Yeah, I'm trying to learn to be as smart as a hermit crab. And I gotta know what the needs of my body are. The hermit crab chooses a small shell, and that is because he knows well the needs of his body. The fishing eagle chooses a rough beach because he does not want man's competition. Yeah, if I could find a rough place so I don't have to have man's competition. Just so am I. If one knows himself and knows what the world is, he will merely wish for quiet and be pleased when he has nothing to grieve about, wanting nothing and caring for nobody. Yeah, if one knows himself and knows what the world is, yeah, if you know yourself and you know what the world is like, if one knows himself and knows what the world is, he will merely wish for quiet and be pleased when he has nothing to grieve about. Yeah, I could be pleased for having nothing to grieve about. Wanting nothing and caring for nobody. It is the way of people when they build houses, not to build them for themselves. Yeah, but for their wives and family and relations and entertain their friends. Or it may be be their patrons or teachers or to accommodate their valuables or horses or oxen. Yeah, I mean, mine's built just for my car. And it's for the wife. Yeah, all the build-up and things and stuff is now for my wife. Oh, okay. So you are no longer a simplified persona.
Yeah, you're not a minimalist? Well, or you buy a lot for your wife? Well, my wife, it's built up. The house is built up for my wife. It is the way of people when they build houses, not to build for themselves. Yeah, like when I build a house in Colombia, it will be for my wife. But for their wives and family and relations, to entertain their friends, or it may be their patrons or teachers, or to accommodate their valuables or horses or oxen. Or they build up the garage, I guess, to put their car in, or their multiple cars, or their 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, their things. It's for their stuff, not themselves. Yeah. But I have built mine for my own needs and not for other people. And for the good reason that I have neither companion nor dependent, so that if I build it larger, who would there be to occupy it? And as to friends, they respect wealth and prefer those who are hospitable to them, but think little of those who are kindly and honest. Yeah, they prefer people with a bigger house, bro. Doesn't matter if they're kind. Yeah, the best friends one can have are flowers and moon, strings and pipe. Okay. So the best friends I could have actually are flowers and moon. And then the strings and pipes, so that could be like my piano and my trumpet. Strings. The best friends I can have are the moon, or the inner moon in meditation, and my piano. Okay. So those are really kind of my best friends. So. And servants respect those who reward them, and value people for what they get. If you are merely kind and considerate and do not trouble them, they will not appreciate it. Yeah, if you are merely kind and considerate and do not trouble them, they will not appreciate it. So the best servant you can have is your own body. Yeah, I'm going to try to put my body as my servant. And if there is anything to be done, do it yourself. Yeah, like you might as well just do it yourself, because by the time you get arrangements for a servant, you're better off to do it yourself. It may be a little troublesome perhaps, but it is much easier than depending on others and looking to them to do it. Yeah, by the time I get somebody to do it, I could have it done already. So this is kind of self-reliance. Is that kind of transcendentalism? Are you talking about Walden Pond? Or is this guy like the Henry David Thoreau of Japan? If you have to go anywhere, go on your own feet. Oh, you're saying not to go with an electric scooter? If you have to go anywhere, go on your own feet and not the car. It may be trying, but not so much so as the bother of horses and carriages. Yeah, it's bothersome really to keep the electric scooter charged, or to keep the car in repair. And like, for instance, like, my Prius is, I don't know if the battery's getting old because the mileage has dropped. So as to the bother of horses and carriages, or Priuses and cars and electric scooters, it is maybe trying, but not so much so as to the bother of horses and carriages. Yeah, they're bothersome, even to park them and stuff. Everyone with the body has two servants, his hands and feet, and they will serve him his will exactly. Yeah, my hands and feet do exactly what I want. Okay. And since the mind knows the fatigue of the body, it works it when it is vigorous and allows it to rest when it is tired. The mind, I can make adjustments. The mind uses the body, but not to excess. And when the body tires, it is not vexed, and to go on foot and do one's own work is the best road to strength and health. To go on foot and to do one's own work is the best road to strength and health. For to cause trouble and worry to our fellows is to lay up evil karma. And why should you use the labor of others? Stop using people. Why do you use the labor of others? Is that why you do your own dishes? Well, have you let your wife do the cooking? Oh, I wash the dishes. Clothes and food are just the same. Garments woven from wisteria vines and bedcloths of wemp covering the body with what comes nearest to hand and sustaining one's life with the berries and fruit that grow on the hills and plains, that is best. If you do not go into society, you need not be ashamed of your appearance. And if your food is scanty, it will have the better relish. You'll relish it if it's scanty. Okay. I do not say these things from envy of rich people. I'm not just saying this because I envy rich people. To tell you the truth, I don't really envy them. Though I wouldn't want to be too poor, though. I do not say these things just to show off in this podcast about my virtuousness of poverty, but only for comparison of my early days with the life I live now. I'm just comparing it to the prior days when compared to where I live now. Since I forsook the world and broke off all its ties, I have felt neither fear nor resentment. I commit my life to fate without special wish to live or desire to die. I'm committed, but I don't committed to the spiritual path, and I don't have some special wish to live or desire to die. I'm pretty much can go with the flow. Like a drifting cloud, I rely on none and have no attachments. So you're saying not to be attached. Just saying, this is detachment. What did you say that the two primary things for progress on the spiritual path was? Devotion and detachment. Well, detachment is kind of obvious because you're technically detaching from the body and leaving it. Like a drifting cloud, I rely on none and have no attachments. My only luxury is a sound sleep, and all I look forward to is the beauty of the changing seasons. All he looks forward to is spring, and followed by summer and fall and winter. His main luxury is sound sleep. It's very luxurious, I guess, when you live alone. Your main luxury is sound sleep. Now the three phenomenal worlds and the world of desire, the world of form, and the world of no form are entirely of the mind. If the mind is not at rest, horses and oxen and the seven precious things and palaces and pavilions are of no use. Like if my mind is not at rest, basically all the money in the world and the palace and the house and the car, all this stuff is useless. If my mind is not at rest. If the mind is not at rest, horses and oxen and the seven precious things and palaces and pavilions are of no use. With this lonely cottage of mine, this hut of one room, I am quite content. If I go out to the capital or into Manhattan, I may feel ashamed at looking like a mendicant priest. But when I came back home here, I feel compassion for those who are still bound by the attraction of earthly things. I feel compassion about those people, like those aggressive shopping people. Like if you ever go to the mall or something, they feel like you've been mauled aggressively. Still bound by the attraction of earthly things, yeah. Or the people, they have new cars and stuff, and I worry about their car loan and stuff. If any doubt me, let them consider the fish. They do not get tired of the water. But if you are not a fish, you cannot understand their feelings. Oh, okay. Okay, I don't understand their feelings, and I'm not a fish, so... Birds too love the woods, but unless you are yourself a bird, you cannot know how they feel. It is just so with the life of a hermit. Yeah, you can't understand this guy's life, and you don't understand me at all, and you don't understand this podcast. And you just don't understand the life of a hermit. Do you understand the life of a meditator? What's he doing? It is just so with the life of a hermit. How can you understand unless you experience it? Yeah, you should experience total mystical enlightenment. Now, the moon of my life has reached its last phase. Yeah, I guess I'm in the last phase. Are you sad? Why did you turn sad? No. What's so funny about it? Now the moon of my life has reached its last phase, and now remaining years draw near to their close. When I soon approach the 3 ways of the hereafter, what shall I have to regret? The law of Buddha teaches that we should shun all clinging to the world of phenomenon, so that the affection I have for this thatched hut is in some sort a sin. Yeah. So the ranting and raving and the affection I have for this podcast is in some sort of sin, and my attachment to this solitary life may be a hindrance to enlightenment. Yeah. It may be a hindrance, my attachment to solitude. May be a hindrance to enlightenment. And maybe I should get married and have a wife and live with some other people and practice my solitude in this podcast or in this book, and by reading books about solitude. My attachment to books about solitude may be a hindrance to enlightenment. The law of Buddha teaches that we should shun all clinging to the world of phenomenon, so that the affection I have for this thatched hut is in some sort a sin, and my attachment to this solitary life may be a hindrance to enlightenment. Thus I have been babbling in this podcast. It may be of useless pleasures and spending my precious hours in vain. Yeah, I don't know if I've been spending my precious hours in vain when I read this book or do a podcast, or maybe if I play volleyball or tennis, or I may be useless pleasure and spending my precious hours in vain. Oh, why? What do you mean? You should do more meditation. In the still hours of the dawn, I think of these things, and to myself I put these questions.
Thus, to forsake the world and dwell in the woods has it been to discipline my mind and practice the law of Buddha, or not? Have I put on the form of a recluse while yet my heart has remained impure? Is my dwelling but a pure imitation of that of Saint Valmalakariti, while my merit is not even equal to that of Shitipantaka, and the most stupid of the followers of Buddha? Yeah, I'm the most stupid follower of Buddha. Is this poverty of mine but the retribution for the offenses of a past life, and do the desires of an impure heart still arise to hinder my enlightenment? And in my heart there is no answer. Yeah, I basically have no answers at all. So I don't know why I'm podcasting. And in my heart there is no answer. The most I can do is to murmur 2 or 3 times a perchance unavailing invocation to Buddha. The most I can do is to murmur in this podcast. The last day of the 3rd month of the 2nd year of the era Kenraku, to buy me the samana rending in my hut on Toyo on my hill. Quote, sad am I at heart when the moon's bright silver orb sinks behind the hill, but how blessed will be to see Amida's perpetual light.
The whole Joe of the refunctions of a record who had retired in disgust from the world that was twofold with violent contest and cataclysm, both of inanimate and animate nature, to allow a sensitive person to find it had all power of all. If though there are some definite styles of questions, traditions, and practice are clearly to no training is it was disappointment at not being allowed to succeed to the ancestral position of Lord Walden at this time of Kama. In Kyoto, the custom to fulfill the word and go to live in the house. Yeah, I was disappointed in the sense that it's the same thing to go up in the house. As can be seen. Commonality, Mama Zapare, the it's not singular. And being thus arbitrarily deprived of position and income, I was quite deprived. Neither was he the only one who saw refuge in nature and Buddhist philosophy. Yeah. So I ended up speaking mostly in Buddhist philosophy. So he's been content with his simple but faithful and natural existence. A friend of the moon and the wind, he spends his days with editorial music, buried by rambles over the hills. Yeah, that's the thing where I spend days with the Kamorista. Yeah. The taste for retired life of elegance has always been and still is characteristic of the Japanese temperament. This is evident in the popularity of the philosophy of Shanryu or Taoism, not Taoism, but Taoism, which enables even the people to become temporary hermits in the tea realm. Yeah, I have a tea realm. I could even if I was a busy person, I could become a temporary hermit in the realm and to be in the world, though, for a while, not of it, like the moon in the marketplace. Oh, wow. I could be like the man in the marketplace. The picture of the size of the tuna has 4.5 maps, the size of Johnny's heart. Indicates its descent from the soul of the Buddhist recluse, Imawaki, who miraculously entertained in its the Buddha and 3,500 of his saints and disciples. Wow. That's quite impressive. This is a very impressive podcast. And book stuff. Yeah. So, it takes notes. Yeah. Alright. I was reading from the 10-foot square hut. It's translated by A.L. Federer, Professor of Oral Studies in the University of Sydney, Senior Press, Publisher, Westport, Connecticut.
Boom, ma, 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 ma.